So today, we grieve. We look at that desk, and we know what we have lost. But we also give thanks. Thanks to someone so rarefied, so brave, so graceful a presence served in this chamber that someone like that served in this chamber for so many years. In closing, let me just say this. The sign of a leader is someone who dedicates the whole of their spirit for a cause greater than themselves. The sign of a hero is someone who fights for others, who endures for others, no matter the cost, no matter the odds. And the sign of a friend is someone who stands by your side to fight the good fight on the good days and on the bad. Dianne Feinstein was all of this and more. A friend, a hero for so many, a leader who changed the a leader who changed the nature of the Senate and who changed the fabric of the nation, America, for the better.
She was an incredibly effective person at every line, at every level, and she was at all of those levels on the way to the Senate. Those of us who were fortunate to call Dianne our colleague can say we served alongside the longest-serving female senator in American history. Dianne was a trailblazer in her beloved home state of California, and our entire nation are better for her dogged advocacy and diligent service.
And when I think of Dianne, as I've heard from my colleagues, I think about the dignity she brought to this place, about how she would dig into every single issue, the independent thought, the trailblazing. She came into politics as a mayor in the most tragic of circumstances. She was a city council member, there's an assassination, and there she is thrust on the national stage. She always put California first.
When I joined, for example, the Intel committee, and she was chairing it, she said, Maisie, this is not a committee that you can just parachute in and not spend the time really learning about our intelligence community and all that. And I really took that to heart. I spent many, many hours on that committee, even though we could never talk about it. And then one of the earlier hearings in the Judiciary Committee, and I really marveled at this. It was a hearing that had to do with guns, and I always associate, of course, Dianne with her courageous fight to ban assault weapons. And one of the newer members of the Judiciary Committee, as I was, chose that hearing to lecture Dianne Feinstein about her advocacy on guns. And I thought this was so untoward against someone who had spent so much of her time fighting for gun safety. But she just said, I have not spent all these years on this committee to be lectured by you, which I thought was really quite tactful. But later she said to me, she took me aside and she said, do you think I was too mean? Do you think I should apologize? And all I could think of was, are you kidding? But that was Dianne Feinstein.
When I came to the Senate, the bipartisan women's dinners were long established. I didn't have to think about how I would get to know my women colleagues and share experiences and learn the ropes from them, because Dianne Feinstein and her other colleagues who were early pioneers in the Senate had already done some of that work for us. I didn't have to think about whether there was going to be a women's bathroom right off the floor that I could use just the way the men use their bathroom in quick moments, because Dianne Feinstein and others had paved the way. I didn't have to think about whether I would be accepted in the same way that Dianne Feinstein had to, because she had already done that really difficult work of being that much better than everybody else to make sure that she never let women down. and that she never let her constituents down. She wanted me always to know that we had made a lot of progress, but that there was still progress to make. And in her way of nudging us and being an example for us, she was reminding us that we still have work to do, and she was counting on us to do it.
It's a privilege to be on the floor of the U.S. Senate. It's a privilege to serve in the Senate. And it was a privilege to serve with someone as extraordinary as Senator Dianne Feinstein. People know me as a senator who cares deeply about women's rights, about LGBT equality, about children, family, safety. And anything that I've ever cared about, Dianne was fighting for long before I was ever in public service. When we talk about public servants who leave legacies, and when we talk about the giants on whose shoulders we stand, for me, that's Dianne. She was unlike any senator I met when I first got here in 2009. She had a really incredible combination of elegance, brilliance, stature, certainty, toughness. This body is less because Dianne's not here. That grace, that courage, that keen intelligence, she will be missed by me, by all our colleagues. I brought the last gift Dianne gave to me. Beautiful pencil drawing, again, just part of her kindness. And I'm wearing Dianne Feinstein's famous red lipstick.
Dianne was one of the kindest, most thoughtful people that I have had the pleasure to know. She was so gracious. As a new senator, she would invite me to dinner with colleagues, and she was such a lady and so professional and so elegant. She was a fighter her whole life, leading on so many important issues. In the coming days and weeks and months and years, as people around the world really honor Dianne's memory, many will speak to her leadership, and rightfully so, on women's rights and foreign affairs.